Morning. Hey. Hi, Melissa. Yeah, normal yoga props, including a strap today. We are going to unsurprisingly start off laying down, as usual. Um, and there's a bunch of people still scheduled to roll up on the Zoom, so I'll probably be talking like into the air. A little bit, greeting people as they arrive. But we're going to begin reclining, and we're going to just spend a moment like really paying attention to the shoulders and paying attention to the hips and the low back. And I'd like you to all consider arranging your arms and your legs so that your joints feel like really happy, right? So that they feel neutral, so that there maybe isn't like a giant stretch going on, but just like this sense of like rest. Yeah, we'll be like, this is so funny. We're early. I don't know why I started early, but yeah, we'll officially start in like a minute or so, I guess. Are you Sabrina? Hi, Hope. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Yeah. Yes. Feel free. Yeah. Okay, here we are. All right, so coming to lie down on your back with your limbs arranged in any way that makes sense. We'll just take notice of a couple of things. First, maybe just take notice of the back of your body where you're connected to the ground. The parts of your body that are touching down. And the way your limbs are sort of heavy here and relaxed. And then notice the front of your body where your breath sort of expands you upward. And then let's notice the breadth of the body. Notice the sides of the body. And as you breathe, notice the breath moving you sort of outward. Good, nice and broad on the inhale. And as you exhale, you kind of gently settle back in towards the center line of the body, back towards the ground. Breathing in here. Yeah, nice and broad. And breathing out, feeling heavy and relaxed, perhaps. Right. So we are sort of like, believe it or not, in a season that is not exactly summer. In 5 elements theory, which is derived from Chinese medicine, or is kind of the underlying basis of Chinese medicine. There's fire season, right? Where the sun is at its peak. Things are hot. Right. And then there's late summer. Late summer's like about a month and a half-ish, and kind of towards the tail end, like after the sun has been at its peak. And I think we're still a little bit in a fire season, right? But edging up on late summer, which is associated with the element of earth. And so today we're just going to focus on fire organs and earth organs. Right? The fire organs are your heart and your small intestine. And your earth organs are your spleen, which is also linked in with your pancreas, and your stomach. Right, and so we have our fire organs, not surprisingly, up high in the body. Okay, they both move down the arms, right? Heart begins in the armpit and it ends in your pinky. And then small intestine kind of gathers at the back of the shoulder and then moves down the outer edge of your arm. Good. And then your stomach and spleen actually begin up high as well. So I believe it's the stomach meridian is in your face, like below your pupils, down on your cheeks. And then it flows down the front of the body and down the inside line of the foot to the big toe. And then the spleen, if I recall correctly, also rolls down the front of the body, starting around the collarbones, down the inside line of the leg, and then winds up in your second toe. Right, so you might spend a moment just kind of imagining those channels of energy, or not. And we'll take about 10 more breaths here, just arranged in your comfortable way. Good, and hey to everybody who rolled up online. I see Dana, Juliana, hi Kim, and Angela. Few more breaths. Good. And then from here, wherever you are, bend the knees, place the soles of the feet on the ground, and we're going to take the arms and wrap them across the chest. Good. And kind of walk your fingers around to the upper back-ish, or the shoulders, or the backs of the arms. To spend a moment there, maybe gripping with the fingers or just letting them rest. Good. And then from here, we're just going to kind of squeeze the hands down the arms, both at the same time, moving slowly. Good. Squeezing the hands, yep, down the upper arms and then the elbows, the forearms, meeting at the wrists. And then just squeeze your hands together. Good, and we'll let the arms fall alongside the body, palms facing up here. Good, just a few breaths. Okay. All right. Let's take a little bit of a recline bound angle pose. So soles of the feet come together and your knees drop out wide. It might be nice to grab a hold of your supports, bring them underneath your outer thighs and your knees. Blocks are nice there, even a bolster across the knees. Right. Right, so this is Patience, Poem for Late Summer by Mary Oliver. What is the good life now? Why, look here, consider the moon's white crescent rounding slowly over the half months to still another perfect circle. The shining eye that lightens the hills, that lays down the shadows of the branches of the trees, that summons the flowers to open their sleepy faces and look up into the heavens. I used to hurry everywhere, and I leaped over the running creeks. There wasn't enough time for all the wonderful things I could think of to do in a single day. Patience comes to the bones before it takes root in the heart as another good idea. I say this as I stand in the woods and study the patterns of the moon shadows, or stroll down into the waters that now, late summer, have also caught the fever and hardly move from one eternity to another. So we'll just spend a moment here extending those legs out nice and long. Let's reach the arms overhead. Take a big stretch. Hey, remembering no rush, no rush. And as you take that big stretch, you might even like send one foot out a little longer and kind of laterally rock the pelvis. And you might reach one hand out and then the other, sort of moving the shoulders laterally. And then from here, let's take the heels and slide them on over to the right side of your mat. I like to cross my right heel on top of the left because I feel like it holds my left leg in place nicely. And if that's a nice place for you, feel free to stay there. You could also toss in the upper body as well. So moving the upper body over to the right and curving your body into this little banana shape. We'll just be here for 2 to 3 minutes. I think one of the things that Yin Yoga does is it sort of asks us to change our relationship with time, to just allow ourselves to be where we are. You need to tap into sensation in the body. So if you find yourself getting mentally, busy or going elsewhere, just feel what's going on physically. Good. For these last 10 breaths or so, see if you can focus attention on relaxing your face. Your eyes, your jaw, your tongue, maybe even your ears. All right, why don't we bring ourselves back through to the center of things? And after like a big stretch like that, I always want to curl up into a little ball. So maybe you're in that boat too, bringing your knees in. Maybe there's something else that you really feel like you want to do here. Drop the arms over the chest, or yeah, really anything will be fine. Just as long as your body is in the mood for it. And then let's set the feet back down to the ground. Okay, I want to offer up a strong thing here. Maybe you're taking an active bridge pose. And if active bridge is not for you, slide a block or maybe that bolster underneath your pelvis and let it hold you. And if you are in that active bridge pose, Let's pay special attention to the big toe and the second toe and the center of the heel. Good. Notice the shins, the front of the shins. And feel the tops of your thighs. And then your hip flexes. Good. And then a nice broadening of the collarbones. Okay, deep breath in. And then exhale and lower yourself back down to the ground, nice and slow. We're gonna rock the knees from side to side here. Feet can stay connected to the ground. Okay, this can move really slowly. Maybe you're practicing that bit of, pause as you drop to one side and then the other. Or you might move quick. That's kind of more your jam. Good. I've taken my hands and placed them on the sides of my waist to kind of press down on my hip, and it feels so nice. Maybe you give that a go too, or not. Good. One more breath like this. Good. We'll slide those legs out nice and long again. Reach your arms past your head. Good. Feel the full length of your body. All right, we'll slide the heels over to the left. And just feel this side of the body. All right, maybe you want to scoot the upper body off to the left as well. Good. As you get settled into your banana pose, take notice of the left side of your body, and if it feels really like crunched up, come out of it a little bit. Both sides should feel good. We'll be here about 2 more minutes. And the very good news is right now, like, there's nothing that you have to be looking at, no problems that you have to solve this moment. So your eyes can relax. Good. And maybe what's behind your eyes can also relax a little bit. Good. Last couple breaths over here. Okay, let's bring ourselves back through to the center. Good. Arms alongside the body. Good. You might rock the knees a little bit. You might bring the knees in towards the chest. Good. Another thought. Ooh, actually, maybe this is what we'll do next. I'm thinking of something underneath the back of the pelvis and then feet up. I think it's feet up time. Yeah, once you get yourself situated with this, we're just going to hang here for a couple minutes with our feet up and our legs kind of relaxed if possible. And sometimes it takes a moment to adjust the props so that it feels kind of effortless. Yeah, and just take a couple moments to look at your feet. Maybe your toes get a little wiggle here. And I want to encourage you to sort of spread your toes out really, really, really wide as you can. And then crunch your toes up. You have like little toe fists. And then spread them out nice and wide again. And a few more times if you want to, crunching them up, spreading them out, and noticing the sensations that you feel in your toes. Good, and elsewhere in your foot. Good, a few more breaths here. All right, if you have not yet rolled your ankles around, roll them. Listen for the sounds they make, if they're making sounds. And notice how your knees also have to move when you roll your ankles. And maybe you're even noticing a little movement of your hips, your fingers in your hip socket. Good, last couple breaths. Right, let's set the soles of the feet down to the ground, and we'll all take a restorative bridge pose here. Okay, sometimes I like to use blocks because it gives me a little bit more freedom with height. If you're going to put your blocks up on the medium or high setting, it's probably a good idea to have both of your blocks involved. Create like a little table for your pelvis. And now feel your feet on the ground. Good, maybe you're extending the leg out long, one or both of them, maybe not. Good, if you have one or both of your legs extended out long, notice, the front of the hip. Notice how it feels in your low belly. And then just let those toes flop out to the side. Good. If you have one leg out long and not the other, just take another few breaths over on this side. Good. And then, if you're taking sides, do the other side. And we'll be here for about another 10 to 15 breaths. Your arms might be stretched out past your head, or they might be alongside the body. Good. Let your body sink in as much as possible. And sometimes we're in a pose like this where our pelvis is lifted or we're in a really big stretch. That tension might spread out to other parts of the body. And so take notice of your fingers and your toes. You unclench your fists. Good. Loosen the jaw. Last breath or two over here. Right. And then if you do have legs extended long, let's bring the soles of the feet back down to the ground. We're going to pick up the pelvis, set it back down, and remove the blocks or bolster. And just a couple breaths here and something rather neutral. Maybe it's constructive rest for you, or maybe you like the idea of that reclined down angle again. Good. Now notice your arms. You take notice of the shoulders and the underarms. And feel the triceps and the biceps. And the humerus, that top bone. And feel your forearms. And then imagine the complex structure of your wrist. And imagine the palm and the finger bones within the palm. And just take 3 more breaths here. And as you inhale, you might imagine breathing in from your fingertips up the arms into the heart. And then as you exhale, breathe out from the heart down through the torso, legs, and into the feet. And inhaling up the arms. Exhaling down to the feet. And one more time. Good. So from here, let's bring the hands back behind the head. Bring the elbows out nice and wide. And we're going to press into the feet, lift up the hips, scoot them to the left, and we'll drop the knees over to the right, taking a twist here. I like a little bit of support for my low back, which is blocked between the knees. Maybe you like the idea of letting the arms splay out. Or maybe even letting the legs splay out here. And as you make your way into your twist, let your head wobble a little bit. And I think we're going to be here for another 2 minutes or so, guys. Sometimes it takes a while to sink into something. But just know that if you're experiencing like a whole lot of discomfort and would like to exit early, we will meet back in constructive rest. But maybe there's another 2 minutes here for you. Who knows? All right, good. Maybe another handful of breaths here. Good. Sometimes it's nice to take notice of the lungs when you're in a twist. The lungs, the ribs, the thoracic spine there, in between all of that. And just observing the way that your lungs and ribs move and the way that sort of moves your whole body. Good. All right. Another breath right here. Okay. And then from here, we are actually going to roll over onto our right side. And let's take a block underneath the right side of your head. And as you bring that block underneath the side of your head, that right arm extends out sort of long in front of you. And just for laughs, let's give ourselves a little like arm squeeze here. So we'll take our left hand and just bring it up to the right shoulder and squeeze your biceps. And squeeze your elbow, your forearm, and then your wrist. And take your left 3 middle fingers and kind of rake them up and down the palm of your right hand. Good, and then slide your fingers in between the other hand's fingers and just give them a little squeeze right here. Good, and then from here, we're going to roll over onto our bellies. Okay, you can loosen your left hand from the right. We're going to keep that right arm underneath us, kind of like a thread the needle situation. And I like to have my blocks sort of in the medium setting so that there's room enough for my shoulder. Yeah, to feel comfortable and not so squished. Right, and then if you are gripping your butt, see if it can relax a little bit here. So we have some lung points. Hi, Lauren. We have some lung points and some stomach points on the side of the chest, kind of close to the armpit. So you might notice how your upper arm, how the meat of your shoulder is kind of pressing into the side of the chest here. All right, and then we have some small intestine points back around the shoulder blade area. So take a few moments to notice what it feels like back there. And we'll just feel the whole length of that right arm for a moment too. Nice, another big breath. Okay, and then let's come on out of that, taking the right arm back behind you. Palm's gonna face down on the ground. And we're gonna slide back over onto our right side here. So this is like a big old arm stretch. Yeah. Right forearm is down. Yeah, your hands or your arm is maybe like perpendicular-ish with the rest of your body. Good. Yeah, I like to stack the knees because it's kind of relaxed and soothing. But maybe you want to like kickstand the leg, that left knee pointing up. You gotta really roll into it. And then face relaxes. You won't be here forever, maybe just another 3 to 5 breaths or so. And see if you can feel each one of your finger pads on the floor. Good. And then from here, we're going to roll over onto our bellies again. And just take a moment. Maybe you have your forehead on a block and you're sort of rocking your head side to side. Another nice thing you could potentially do, if it's okay with your cervical spine, is to place your chin on a block and rock on your jaw from side to side. Or maybe none of that. Maybe you rest. And notice your right arm. And just notice your left arm. Good. And then from here, we're going to lift ourselves up into Sphinx pose. So elbows more or less underneath shoulders. It might be nice for the first few moments to think about kind of activating your Sphinx pose. So maybe with the elbows under the shoulders, you kind of drag the elbows back towards the ribs and feel a nice little squeezing of the kidney area and a nice little stretch of the belly. Maybe you drop your head down and let it hang here. And let your jaw and your ears relax. Okay, and from here you can choose to stay in your Sphinx pose, or you might decide to press into the hands and lift your elbows up. Good, finding your seal pose. Good, big stretch on those stomach and spleen lines here. Good, if you are lifted up into your seal pose, feel the big toe and the second toe on the ground. Okay, nice. One more big breath, lifting if you're up there. And then we're gonna slide our way back down to the ground and just feel that connection of the front body to the earth, or the floor, or the mat, or whatever's underneath you. All right, let's feel the back of the body receive some of that breath movement. Good. We'll be here for about another minute or so. If there's a side of your head that you normally feel like you want to rest on, I want to encourage you to maybe flip your head to the other side and just spend a moment noticing how that side of the neck feels in this position. Good. Yeah, one more breath here, and then we're gonna roll ourselves onto our backs again. So kind of just like log rolling. Maybe you want to sit up though. I don't know. You're gonna drink some tea. Or let's keep that block underneath the head just for a moment. Good. And as you find the block under the back of the head, let's take it to the base of the skull. Good. As you rock your head side to side, and let those eyes totally settle in and relax. And thinking of that stomach point that's just down from your pupils, like right under the cheekbone, that part of your face relax. Good. Feel the backs of your shoulders touching down to the ground. Okay. All right, so from here, let's take the hands back behind the head and remove that block for now. Take it out of the way. And then we're going to take our twist over to the other side. So pressing into the feet, scoot hips over to the right and drop your knees over to the left. Good, and take notice of how this shape feels. And I found that it's easy to be patient and find the pause in like comfortable, comfortable positions and situations, but not so easy when things are a little bit intense or a little bit awkward or strange. And that sort of applies to the body as well as like other things. So for a few moments, feel into the parts of your body that are giving you the most feedback. Scanning through and noticing any areas of stress or stretch or tension. And just think about sending breath and into those places, breath movement in that direction, like a wave. And then it might also be nice to focus on what feels good here. Right, any part of you that's like, oh yeah, just that. You might spend a moment really feeling that sensation too. And last couple breaths over here. Okay. Let's make our way out of this. We're going to roll over onto our left side now. And as you roll over onto your left side, just stacking the knees, stacking your shoulders, stacking hips. And allow for that slight rounding in of the upper back. And then, yeah, that left arm is going to be out sort of nice and long in front of you, just out in front. Let's take the right hand, bring it up to the shoulder, give your shoulder a nice little squeeze. If you're feeling a little frisky, you might even slip your thumb into your armpit and press around in there at the first external point on your heart channel. And squeezing down the biceps. To the elbow, down the forearm. Feel and sort of visualize your wrist. Right, and then spend a few moments with the right 3 middle fingers raking up and down your palm. Nice. Last couple breaths. Sliding your fingers around the other hand's fingers and just giving them a little squeeze together here. And then we'll take a roll over onto our bellies, keeping that left arm long underneath you. Create that block under the head to help support the shape a little bit. Keep the shoulders from feeling too crunched up. And then just notice breath in the backs of your lungs here. In the back of the heart area. And if your glutes are clenching, once again, just let them relax. So notice and feel the shoulder blade. Notice and feel the side of your chest. And where your upper arm kind of plugs in, pressing into those lung and stomach points. And feel the full length of your left arm. And wrist and hand, nice and relaxed. And from here, let's sort of change the shape of that shoulder by picking up the chest and sliding that left arm back behind you now. So it's about parallel with the body, or perpendicular, I should say. Good. And then we'll roll over onto the left side, coming into the big old arm stretch. And as you find that big arm stretch, arrange the legs for your preference here. So maybe there's like a little kickstanding of that right leg, or even sending it out long behind you. Oh, maybe you just want to tuck those knees in and keep the lower body soft. And feel your arm. Just be here for another 5 breaths or so, and it might be nice to gently place each one of your finger pads down on the ground. Feel that connection. Noticing sensation in your hand. And one more breath. Good. And then from here, we are just going to roll over onto our left side, or we're actually already there. So let's pick up that left arm. Yeah, and just bring it back in front of you and curl yourself up. We feel the back of the body get a little bit expansive. The front of the body a little bit more compressed. We're going to be moving into a child's pose next. So if you know from the outset that child's pose is a little bit intense for your knees or your feet or ankles, and you prefer to stay here, you're certainly welcome to. But otherwise, we're going to make our way, into our child's pose. And there are so many ways you can set that up. I'm going to offer up a super yin stretchy variation, because this not only gets into the lower body, but also the shoulders, and the arms. So maybe you're taking a couple of blocks and setting your elbows down on them and interlacing your fingers and then dropping your head down. That's one way to do it, you know, and then there's prop free. There's a bolster under the belly. That might be nice. And take notice of how things are feeling in your hips and your low back. And one little thing that always makes my low back feel a little better is a blanket kind of tucked in behind the thighs and calves. And we'll be here for a few minutes. Just another 10 breaths or so. If you happen to have your head turned to one side or the other, yeah, maybe flip it. And then nice and slow, nice and slow. We're gonna come on up and out of this child's pose and do something we almost never do in this class, which is a camel pose, actually. Camel doesn't seem like a yin pose, but it's in the yin book. So I'm gonna defer to Bernie here. We're not gonna hold it for a very long time. But let's think about maybe crawling the knees up onto some blocks and tucking the toes underneath as like a first step into like a little toe squat here. We're not going to be in toe squat for all too long, maybe just like a couple breaths to feel the soles of the feet. And then we'll stand up on the knees and take the hands to the lower back and just kind of broaden through the collarbones. And if it feels okay to drop the head back, and go for it. Good. Just a couple moments with this, really not too long. Relax your face, relax your eyes. This is a pose where you just kind of like know when you're done. And once you have gotten to that point, release ourselves from the shape. And come to a seated position where I think we're going to take a butterfly pose. So you can sit up on something if you want to. It might be nice to have blocks through the outsides of your knees. And soles of the feet are going to be together, knees out wide. Your feet can be sort of far away from you. If you prefer to have them in really close, that's fine too. And we're going to fold forward here. And I want to encourage you to take your hands onto your feet and like maybe slide your thumbs up and down your inner arches where your spleen meridian lives. And down your inner ankles. Maybe you're grabbing a hold of your big toes and giving them a little like wobble around. Maybe grabbing your second toe as well. Maybe all of them if you're feeling it. Let's just stay curled up in this shape. This is going to be one of our big holds. I'm thinking of maybe like, I don't know, 5 minutes here. Yeah. As you notice your body easing into this shape, again, what parts of your body are giving you the most feedback? What do you feel? Where do you feel it? And then maybe you're shifting gears mentally to the parts of your body that are giving you some like good, happy feelings. Like maybe the back of your neck is overjoyed that you've dropped your head down. Maybe your jaw is really happy that you've relaxed it. Maybe the back of your rib cage is feeling really good right now. Who knows? We'll just spend 3 minutes or so settling in here and noticing what feels just right. And so it's a nice place to be still right here, but there's also the extra little goodie of maybe crossing your arms under your chest, maybe hooking your hands onto your knees or your shins somewhere, and folding forward to get a nice big opening in and around the shoulder blades as well. Back of the heart gets some space. Good. 5 more breaths here. If you have your arms crossed, just switch the cross. Good, all right, so we can come on up and out of this, and then I'm thinking that we're gonna find our backs again, actually. So as you come to lie down on your back, this is where our strap is gonna come into play. Let's see. I'm hoping for a little bit of supported legs up the wall here with a strap. So, oh God, I smacked myself. All right, so we're gonna make a big long loop with your strap if you have a big strap. If you don't happen to have a big strap, this can be done just by looping the strap around the bottoms of both of your feet after you come to lay down. But if you do have that big long loop, we're gonna take it around somewhere around the back. And we're gonna lay down, we're gonna send our feet up. And just let them be here, just like this. Good. Yeah, if that strap doesn't go all the way around, that's okay. Just one of these will do as well. Holding on. But we want to try our very best to let the upper body relax as much as possible. If you do have that big loop around, let the arms splay out. Yeah, take notice of the lower back. Take notice of your right hip socket and your left hip socket. Take notice of your low belly in your pelvis. Let's just bring as much attention as possible to that space for now. Your pelvic bowl, this hinge between the upper and lower body. And really, it's way more complicated than a hinge, obviously. There's so much happening in here. Good. If you are a chronic glute clencher, see if you can relax them again. Might even take your hands and give your hips and your glutes and your thighs a little bit of like a tap. You're feeling the outer edges. Yep. Good. Keeping that going for as long as it serves you, but eventually finding some stillness again. And let's stay here for about another 20 breaths or so, another few minutes. Nice slow breathing. Okay, maybe just another couple breaths here. Take a look up at both of your feet. And maybe give those toes a gentle wiggle or a nice stretch and clench and stretch again. Yep, and then we're going to keep that left foot up in the strap. We're going to send the right leg out long on the ground. You might decide to tighten the strap a tiny little bit so that your left leg feels good and contained. And then, okay, we're going to grab a block in one of our hands. This is where we start to get a little funky. We're going to take that block and let's place it all the way over to the right. Like as far out as your hand goes, pretty much. And then let's drop that left leg nice and long across the midline so that the inside edge of your left foot rests on that block. Yeah, while the strap sort of supports and stretches through that leg. Okay, so here's the place to be. Maybe you also bend your right knee and reach back for your right foot with your left hand or not. But whatever you end up doing, feel your breath in the side of your rib cage by feeling the way that strap kind of presses in. Feel the broadness of your torso. Feel the broadness of your collarbones and your shoulders. Good. Just another few breaths. We will not be here forever. Hey, nice. Let's extract ourselves from this thing. We're gonna actually for a moment, let's unhook both feet from the strap, set them down to the ground, and just take a super neutral constructive rest kind of thing. Hey, maybe there's a little gentle rocking of the pelvis side to side. Maybe you want to stretch your left leg out long for a sec. Yeah, but eventually we are going to take that right foot up into the strap here and just do just about the same thing. And so as you bring your right foot up, extend that left leg out. If that's okay with your hip and low back. Knee bent if things are a little iffy in that department. And then we're going to take a block in our left hand and just place it over here to the left, right about where you think your foot would fall. And slide or cross that right ankle over the midline. And if the strap is a weird length, you can always adjust it, readjust. Coming into this big twist. And maybe there's a little bend of that left knee, reaching back for your left foot with your right hand. Another 5 or so breaths here. Our last breath. And then let's come back through to the center. And one more time, we're just going to send both feet up into the strap. So just very briefly, the length doesn't have to be perfect because what we're actually going to do is we're going to turn the soles of the feet towards each other, have the strap sort of supporting the outer edge of the feet and running up and over the top of the ankle. And then from here, we're going to take a bound angle shape, slowly kind of pulling at that strap, okay, decreasing the size of the loop. And then eventually we let our feet down to the ground, we let our knees down. Maybe there are some blocks involved. And that strap at the lower back, kind of helping to lengthen things out there. And a little bit of pressure over the inside line of the thigh. And let's just spend about 1 minute here. Recline bound angle. And your arms might mimic the shape of your lower body by just stacking your hands one on top of the other, just above the crown of the head. Elbows wide. Another few deep breaths here, nice and slow. Good, and then we're going to take our feet out of that strap and arrange your body in the comfortable way that feels just right for you, lying down on the ground. Maybe you want to curl up on your side, maybe constructive rest, or Shavasana, of course, a nice option. And so we're going to do a little bit of this breathing technique that involves us bringing our attention around this circuit in our body that's known as the microcosmic orbit or the small heavenly circuit. I love that. It is following your Ren channel, which is the big sea of yin energy down the front of the body. And then following the Du channel, Du, which is the river of yang energy around the back of the body and up and over the head back to the front of the body. Great. So from here, bring the tip of your tongue back behind your top two front teeth. Okay, that's where we're going to begin. As you exhale, bring your attention from this place down the midline, down the front of the body, all the way down, all the way down, all the way down to the bottom of your pelvis. And then as you inhale, bring your attention up the spine, up, 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 around the top of the head, across the forehead, back to the top of the teeth. And then exhale down the front of the body again. Inhale up and around. Exhale down. And just keep that flowing at your own pace. What is the good life now? Why look here? Consider the moon's white crescent rounding slowly over the half months is still another perfect circle. The shining eye that lightens the hills, that lays down the shadows of the branches of the trees, that summons the flowers to open their sleepy faces and look up into the heavens. I used to hurry everywhere, and I leapt over the running creeks. There wasn't time enough for all the wonderful things I could think of to do in a single day. Patience comes to the bones before it takes root in the heart as another good idea. I say this as I stand in the woods and study the patterns of the moon shadows or stroll down into the waters that now, late summer, have also caught the fever and hardly move from one eternity to another. And so in the slow, moviest of ways, it's going to start to bring a little bit of a wiggle back to your body. Maybe take a stretch. Maybe you want to bring your hands somewhere on your body for a moment or two. Yeah, but eventually we'll all sit together and do that thing for a moment. And maybe we will close out by taking one of your hands onto your heart, kind of like boop, right there in the middle of things. And then one of your hands onto the ground, fingertips touching the ground. And then we're going to just do a couple of breaths here. As you inhale, imagine you can inhale from the earth up into your fingertips, up into the heart. And as you exhale, it's all the way down your torso, down to the sitting bones, back to the earth again. And a few breaths like that. Wonderful. And then let's bring both hands to stack on top of each other, on top of the heart. And a big breath in, heart lifts into hands. And breathe out, drop your head down, honoring your practice and each other too. Oh, all right, guys. Happy Sunday and all that jazz. Yes. Thanks for being here. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Yay. It's good to see all your faces.
Thank you, Hope.
You're welcome. See you soon.